Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I am here as always with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, it's, I think, your favourite time of the year, more so than anyone else's. It's international break. We know how much you love international football. I'm not being sarcastic here, by the way. Dan loves international
football. I do.
More than the average man or woman should. And we've got, to be fair, Dan, this is going to be a somewhat exciting episode because, first of all, there isn't the dismay of England being involved, any host nations like that. So, there's going to be no disappointment on our end. And we've got three players who have gone away. We've got the Emmys, and we've got, of course, Philippe Coutinho, who is away with Brazil. Dan, have you ever wanted an app that collates all the scores and news from your favourite teams in the whole of Europe, Dan? Have you ever wanted that?
It's a constant need of mine, mate, because there's always news. That's the thing, is that we love this game. We love the industry of football because it's ever-changing, mate, and you need a place to keep up with it all.
And we have that place exactly for you guys. It's One Football. Guys, this app is genuinely, it's life-changing.
It's great because I actually I use it. So it's great because it's where I pull the stats from for the podcast. So it's like there's all that new stuff as well, but you can track all of the players' stats from like across Europe for all the different leagues, for continental football as well. It's a dream. It's a dream. And the best part, mate, is it's free.
It's free, and guys, it would help support the channel massively if you check that One Football using the link in the description down below. We promise you guys won't be disappointed. And we're recording this after the first round of World Cup qualifiers, which were absolutely mental, mate, weren't they? They were
incredible,
absolutely crazy. From EMI having an entire country on strings with an Instagram story, to red cards being flown in, overturned, karate kicks, and all sorts. Where should we start first, Dan? Brazil or Argentina? What are you thinking, mate?
We'll go with, I think we'll use a little bit of recency bias, mate. Coutinho is the man of the moment, so we'll kick off with the Selecao.
There we go. And now Coutinho started this game, and it's been quite well documented, the love affair that Brazil and their system, what they have for Coutinho. They've put a lot of faith in him over the past years when, I don't want to say it's misplaced, but of course, with the time that Coutinho has had, most players wouldn't get called up to these kind of squads, and Coutinho has, and the manager has never ever sort of downs tools with Philippe, always give him a chance. However, he was only on the pitch for about half an hour yesterday, Dan, due to the crazy circumstances of this game. So unfortunately, there isn't too much to go by on Coutinho's performance, but the context of the game we just have to talk about, mate, because it's mental.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And it was so South American. It was just everything that South American football is picked up to be. And it's these World Cup qualifiers are so explosive. And yesterday was a perfect example of that. Ecuador really didn't lie down. Alisson was sent off as well in that game. And there was so many. It was an interesting lineup. There's a lot of scrappers actually in that Brazil team. Casemiro, who again, I think, were we speaking about him on the live, or were we announced Callum Chambers? We covered every play the grass, though, mate. But yeah, Coutinho was in that team, and it's good to see because he was sort of frozen out a little bit of a while, but he's a real favourite in Brazil because he's this sort of enganche that you don't see a lot of nowadays. Those sort of real traditional tens, and he's always been favoured in Brazil, and he hasn't played a lot of football recently. But back in November, he was given the nod to be called up to the Selecao as a sort of, look, we're still, we know you're still there. We know you're still thinking about you. If you can get yourself a move regularly and start playing football, then there's still a place for you here. And it seems that he's gone and done that. He's come to Villa, and boom, first international break, he's back in the squad. And it's always nice, I think, when players are rewarded and are given that show of faith. It really helps with their confidence, especially with what Philippe has been going through with Barcelona and everything like that. So it was a real joy to see him in the starting lineup. But because of the nature of the game, I don't think it was really the game for Felipe to show his best stuff, because it was absolute warfare out there, mate.
It was that it was challenges flying all over the place. Allison got sent off twice and had both of them overturned. Um, Ecuador's goalkeeper came and almost sliced Mateus Cunha's head straight off. Honestly, it was crazy. Emerson Royale got sent off. An Ecuador player got sent off. And yeah, it definitely isn't the kind of game you want Felipe to be involved in, which is kind of worrying about these because whilst, we've got Tyrone and John in Dubai, having a nice time trying to get Connor Cody to go down some drop slides. Philippe Coutinho is essentially having warfare pledged on him, which isn't ideal, for a man who hasn't played a lot of football. He got 30 minutes in the tank, which is really important, and I think the thing is with Felipe is he's not going to be match sharp, match fit. Like I think it's fair to say against Everton, I don't want to say he was a passenger, but he wasn't putting himself about as much as people may have expected. But that is completely fair, and that isn't a criticism at all. Brazil do have another World Cup qualifier coming up on the horizon, Dan, don't they? I believe they have Paraguay, I think, is their next qualifier, which again, that'll be hopefully a really good chance for him to sort of get some more minutes. And again, another little magician, Dan, hasn't been able to play. Emi Buendia, being in close contact with McAllister of Brighton, of all people. How's he in the Argentina squad? I do not know. And Buendia's had to isolate, which is a real shame. But I mean, it's to be fair, it's probably for in his best interest in regards to safety, because as we alluded to earlier, mate, Martinez absolutely has the Chileans on strings, mate. He posted an Instagram story with the sort of the sick emoji, and the Chile flag. And honestly, this man, I love him. I absolutely love him. Like, I really hope, going on a little bit of a tangent, I really hope we get to play the Blues sometime soon, because you just know he would relish the rivalry and he'd fully throw himself in there, and we'd get an Olaf Melberg moment where he says, I don't like these guys. Like, screw these guys. And yeah, I mean, the Argentina game seemed really interesting as well, Dan, to be quite honest, against Chile. Obviously, there was that bite. Ben Brereton Diaz scored. So, we didn't keep a clean sheet, but Argentina haven't lost a single game that EMI Martinez has played in, Dan. They've played 15. Yeah. He's won 10, drawn 5, only conceded 7. We're witnessing greatness.
We are, mate. We are. It's been a brilliant period for the Argentinian national team. They're up to 18 games without a defeat now in qualifiers. That's the first time that's happened in Argentinian football history, by the way. So Emi's been a part of something pretty great there. Their last defeat came 5 years ago in qualifiers, which is pretty impressive. And you hope that this can continue for Emi, because it really felt like it took a little bit of a while for him to establish himself in that team. There were a few goalkeepers that were starting ahead of him, and it felt that even when he was superior, it took him a little bit of a while. But that Copa America victory came at the right time, because the kind words from Lionel Messi, who you almost feel is the true manager of the Argentinian national team, have really helped Emi. It really boosted his status, I think, domestically in Argentina. And rightly so. He's a fantastic goalkeeper, mate. I think that sort of mistake against Man United now feels a thing of the past. And yes, I know he didn't keep a clean sheet, but you know what? There aren't many players in world football that I'm absolutely fine with EMI Martinez conceding against. But I think Ben Brereton Diaz is one of them, because what a story that is! It's a narrative that I think any true football fan can get behind. And it was a very, very good header. But as I said, that man is it's amazing, isn't it? He's put Diaz in his last name and has just taken on completely different levels of ability. But yeah, no, it's a shame he didn't get that clean sheet. But it's good for him. You feel a real sense of pride when he goes away and plays with Argentina. I think it's always good when you see this happen. because it reminds you that it's a bit different here in England, because it is a very sort of club over country mentality. But in South America, it's totally not the case. These guys playing for your national team is what it means, and you can see it. And I sort of remember with the AFCON and with the Copa America and stuff like that, there's sort of some doubts like, oh, do you let them go? Do you not let them go because of COVID and everything like that? And it's like, no, you have to give these guys a chance, because this is why they do it. This is why they want to play club football week in, week out. It's why Coutinho comes to Aston Villa, because there's a World Cup at the end of the year, and that's all that matters. It would be amazing to see these guys. Hopefully, little Emi is back in the squad for that, because there could be a whole host of Villa talent on show in those South American games at the World Cup in Qatar, and that would just be an amazing sight. And as I said, because of that run they put together in Argentina, both of those guys deserve it.
For sure. And on Tuesday, they face off against Colombia, which will be quite a heated affair, especially with the context of that semi-final victory. EMI Martinez staring down Yerry Mina. We still saw the handbags of that against Everton, didn't we, Dan, with how Mina acted a lot in the box, and he was certainly giving a fair bit to our little Emi Buendia as well. And of course, we and Buendia had the last laugh there, and I think there's still a lot on. I think both Argentina and Brazil have qualified, so these games are fairly pointless for them. But like for Ecuador, they're third in their group. I think there is a playoff place up for grabs in CONMEBOL. So that kind of puts into perspective the fight that was happening in that Brazil game, how important it was for Ecuador to really get something. I think Colombia are actually playing Peru right now and drawing 0-0 down, which is quite strange. I mean, I was about to say it seems early, but we are at 9:15 right now. Yes. I'm losing track of the time. But no, I mean, it's really exciting, mate. And like, it sounds so trivial, because like, I think, if you ask anyone in the game, I think in this country as well, I think anyone would say it would, the highest honor would be to play and represent for their country. But as you say, I think just there's not much to be proud of this country, like just in general, like without going too much into anything. But like, these guys really are proud of their heritage, proud of where they've come from, and what they've gone on to achieve off the back of where they're from as well. Because you think of Wes being from the favelas in Rio de Janeiro with one leg drastically longer than the other, and children at the age of 15. These guys should be proud that they're representing their country. They are representing the very best of people and talent from both Brazil and Argentina, and they absolutely deserve all the success that comes to them. And that's, it's really exciting. And over the past few years, Dan, when we've had just the kind of crap that we've had at the club in general, to have Southern American internationals is just so exciting, isn't it? Like, who doesn't want Brazilian internationals and Argentinian internationals playing for Villa?
It's brilliant. It sort of right from when we first saw Dougie Luiz and Wes get called up for the Selecao. It's still a bit of a pinch me moment, really, and it still is, and especially when you see Coutinho in the lineup with the Selecao, and you remember that he's now a villain. It's a wonderful feeling, mate. And I think we've seen both sides of the coin recently, because we've seen the guys like Bertie go away with to the AFCON, which is a very different situation, because he's very much the main man in that team. He had a game of how should we say, mixed fortunes the other day. Missed a penalty, smashed back the crossbar, but then ended up sort of rolling one in typical Bertrand Traoré fashion from about 30 yards this time. So an incredible tournament out in Cameroon this year. And Burkina Faso are still very much competing. They squeezed by on penalties, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think Bertie had a little bit of redemption and actually came back to score one in the shootout. So he did it when it matters. I think the AFCON's actually come at a good time for Traoré, because I think it will help him get some consistent football, play regularly, just get back up to match fitness. Because I still think that, despite with all the talent that we've got now in those wide positions, I still think there's a place for him, because I still, there's a magnificent player in there, someone that really shone, I think, last season. and someone that I think Stephen Gerrard will be quite fond of. I think he offers something very different on that right-hand side to a Buendia. They're almost chalk and cheese in terms of their two playing styles. So it'd be really interesting, especially with a prolonged run into the knockout stages of the competition, which I would urge everyone to watch, by the way. There's no Premier League football. There's no European football really in any of the top 5 leagues this weekend, but there is quarterfinal football out in Cameroon. So I definitely give it a watch, because I think it will really help Bertie when he comes back to Villa, having played this much football.
Trez as well, man. Trez played the other day. He came on, bowled about 6 chances, and I mean, on the day of recording this, Dan, I think this will probably go out the next morning. But it's 2 years since Trez fired us to Wembley.
Amazing.
Mental. Where's that time gone? What a
Crazy,
goal. Trez at the back stick. And the thing is, so often he was at the back stick for Egypt the other day, and my man could not hit a barn door. And it's sad to see. I hope he finds his scoring form, because Egypt, they cruised through that game. It wasn't an impressive performance from them. Salah ghosted. They managed to get by on penalties. Trez didn't take one, as you would expect. Salah took the game-winning penalty. I mean, Eric Bailly did a no-look penalty, in the middle of the shootout, and you're thinking, what are you doing? Like, Ivory Coast should have won that game. They really should have, but it's just for that reason. I mean, we could, Dan. There is a high chance here that we have a Villa AFCON final. We have a Burkina Faso versus Egypt. I mean, who do we support? Who do we pick?
Yeah, that's difficult. That is difficult.
I mean, Bertie's the main man for Burkina Faso. He's the captain. He's not played as much because he had COVID and stuff, which is a shame, but he has had his moments of brilliance when he's played. And, we love Bertie on this podcast, Dan. We love him. We know he's a somewhat flawed player. There is no denying that. But, God, that guy, when he can turn it on.
He gets it right, it's brilliant.
It is, honestly. And some of the goals he scored as well and assisted, they've been magic. So, yeah, keep an eye out on what our internationals are doing. I'm sure we'll come back with another roundup if you guys are interested in that. I mean, Dan, maybe we even go live for one of these games. Maybe we go live for Argentina, Colombia.
It'd be brilliant fun. That would be brilliant fun.
That's a 11:30 kickoff, so that's not too late.
Let us know in the comments.
If you guys want us to do a watch along for one of these games, let us know in the comments down below. We'll see what we can do. And yeah, hopefully we can see some more great performances, goals, assists, minutes galore from all of these guys. And before we know it, they'll be back with us. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, make sure you hit a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. Up the Villa.